Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. Today I am continuing my series of reviews by taking a look back at Countdown number 47. Countdown, known as Countdown to Final Crisis for its last 24 issues, was a comic book limited series published by DC Comics, and it debuted on May 9th, 2007. Since this is a countdown, the story order for the numbering is backwards, so you start with issue 51 and count down to issue 1, and that's what I've been doing. So this issue is written by Paul Dini and Sean McKeever, with pencils by Tom Derenick and inks by John Stanisci, and colors by Guy Major. The cover, which is a really great cover, is by Ed Benez, and Rod Reese did the colors. So I really like Ed Benez's art style, and I think he does a lot of good art. So starting off, we'll go ahead and take a look at the cover. It's really great, and it's Mary Marvel there on the cover with her black outfit. This is the issue where she gets her powers again, and that's what you see here on the cover. So that's really awesome. It's real iconic. I did a Google image search for Mary Marvel Black. This was like the #1 thing that came up, so it was pretty cool. So starting off on the first page, it's kind of a trippy place to start, but it's Jimmy Olsen, and he's out at the source wall, and he sees Light Ray, who died in the last issue, and Light Ray says, "Open your eyes." And so on the bottom panel you see Jimmy opened his eyes, and then he opens his eyes and he's a part of the source wall, so he screams and he's all freaking out, and the issue is called Bricks in the Wall, and you see the issue title on the bottom of the page there. So he jumps up in bed and says no, and oh man, it turns out he was dreaming, of course. So he says, oh man, what in the world is happening to me? So it was pretty crazy. But I mean, he wouldn't have any idea of what the source wall is or anything, I don't think. So it was a pretty strange dream. And we go to the next page, and it's Holly Robinson, and she's walking through like a train station type thing, and a guy comes up to her and is like kind of accosting her, basically saying, oh, I got lots of work for girls like you and stuff. And she kicks him in the face and says, sorry, I don't do that anymore, and walks away. So I went ahead and looked up Holly Robinson because I didn't remember who she was, and she ends up being Catwoman for a little while. I believe she does in this story arc. But Holly Robinson, if you remember in Batman Year One, she's the little girl who is living with Selina Kyle, the original Catwoman. So she's a little girl, if you've seen the movie or read the comic, that stabs Bruce Wayne in the leg when he's on one of his first crime-fighting missions. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And she was created by Frank Miller in that comic. That's her first appearance. And in this era, this kind of mid-2000s, like around 2006, she was Catwoman too for a while. So she's here, I believe she's in Gotham, but she doesn't want to call any of her contacts that she knows, so she looks at her phone and gets mad and throws it down and says, you can't contact them, you have to be strong, or you've lived like this before, it's time for a fresh start. So then we go to the next page, and this is the part I was most excited for, and this is one of my favorite issues. I think this is my favorite issue so far that I've reviewed. And so Mary's talking to Black Adam still, and if you haven't been following along, I'll put links to the previous issues in the description box. But anyways, Mary Marvel's there talking to Black Adam, and he says, you claim this meeting was accidental, and she says, it's the truth, Adam, I didn't come here to ask for anything. And you get this really cool panel where he kind of looks over his shoulder and he's floating in the air, and he says, didn't you? And she says, no. And he says, lies are beneath you, Mary, beneath our legacy, even the lies you tell yourself. And he kind of has this whole story about how his powers don't make up for how he lost his family and his home and everything, and he's real upset. So he's saying, if we are two of a kind, then follow my lead, except that there's nothing left for you but to let go and to fall into the abyss. And she says, "You're wrong, there's hope." And he says, "Oh yes, there's hope. You know something, Mary?" And he grabs her by the neck, slams her into the wall here, you can see, and he says, "Hope is a sick delusion." So then we go to the next page, and it's a change of scenes. So the monitors are the multiversal nexus is what it's called, but it's their base where they are. And there's a few, let's see, three pages where they're discussing what they want to do. They've been deciding whether or not they want to start killing off the people who are on Earths they aren't supposed to be on. So they end up deciding, yeah, and the guy who was against it is really surprised. But that's how this all started out on the first Countdown issue. Duella Dent gets killed by one of these guys, and now he wants to kill Donna Troy, Jason Todd, and Kyle Rayner because they are on Earths they aren't supposed to be on. So we go through those pages, and then we see a scene with the Rogues, and I kind of like the Rogue scenes so far. They haven't done too much, but they're pretty funny. So it's like Heatwave and Mirror Master and another one of the Rogues are up there partying with the girls, and Trickster and Pied Piper are out on the balcony, and they're talking. They're basically just trying to figure out each other's motives because they were both kind of rogues, and then they were good guys, and then they're trying to be rogues again. So there's a few pages of that, and then we're back to what I'm most interested in is Mary Marvel and Black Adam. So he's still holding her there, and he says, "Do you want to die, Mary Marvel?" And she says, "Please, I just want my old life back." And he says, "I'm sorry, Mary, but we both know that's impossible. But I can ease your loneliness with the company of the gods." Shazam! And you see this whole big panel on the bottom there. There's an explosion, and they're both knocked back. And he's on his back there, and he's trying to lift some rubble off of himself. And all of a sudden, she says, "Here, let me help you," and picks it up, throws it. And he says, "My goodness, Mary." And it goes to the next page. "Look how you've grown." So there you see the reveal where she's got her Black Adam style outfit. So that's really cool. And you'll see this transformation has changed her personality. She's gained his powers, but she's not the old Mary Marvel. And as the series progresses, she changes more and more. So she says, "You've given me," he says, "all of it." And she says, "Why?" And he says, "I have lived a long time with enough burden. Besides, it's only what you wanted, isn't it?" And she's like, "Adam, what can I do?" And he says, "If you see your brother, tell him I'm sorry." And she has this shocked look on her face. So this is kind of the last page of the story. So we go to this next page, and it says, "Washington, D.C., breaking news from the nation's capital. A crisis unlike any other has gripped the entire city in terror. Casualties are expected to rise throughout the day as the Amazons attack." So the thing with Countdown to Final Crisis is it has a bunch of tie-ins, and one of the big tie-ins is this 6-issue miniseries called Amazons Attack. So that's happening simultaneously now with this storyline, and I actually have done reviews for all 6 issues of Amazons Attack, so I will include links to at least the first issue, not all of them, in the description box, and you can find them in the videos section. So if you're curious about Amazon's Attack and how it connects to Countdown, I have reviews of those. Personally, I liked it a lot. It's really controversial. A lot of people don't like Amazon's Attack. I think maybe the hate's died down, but when it first came out, people were really salty about it. So I like the art on it, and I think the story is pretty wild too. So there's a few more pages. This is where the actual Countdown issue ends, is this page, but then there's a few more pages, 3 pages to be exact. So what these are is more of the history of the multiverse, and there's been a few of these. This one says chapter 3, so this is the 3rd one. So these are really cool. I like them a lot. This one talks about the time stream and some of the different Earths, and talks about the crime syndicate. So that's pretty cool. I like these. They're really informative, and I think they're a great thing to include for people who kind of don't know what's going on, and it just gives you some backstory. So it's really cool. And Dan Jurgens wrote this part. He wrote the history of the multiverse, and Norm Rapmond did the finished art. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, as always. I really appreciate it. And if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. Feel free to share these videos, kind of, spread the word and help this channel grow. So that's all for now. Thanks.
End of line.